Oh, sorry, I did not even notice you guys did. It's like a real thing. um, so, as you guys know, I'm 16. You've watched my channel. It's typically like silliness, me playing around. But I'm kind of figure out what I want to do with this. But so today is dedicated to me becoming a cheerleader. I've been a cheerleader since December, somewhere in December. I think I was like, I tried out the 3rd, a couple weeks tryouts. So since about the middle of December, I've been a cheerleader. I work for Weber. Tomorrow we have our first away game. I've never cheered my whole life. I've always been like, oh, dance, yes, theater, yes, and something I've always wanted to do was cheerleading, and so I decided, let me become a cheerleader. So I'm going to give the beginner's cheerleader, like, I was surprised I made the team. I've never done cheerleading. I'm not like a great tumbler. Like, it has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with like your work ethic. If you're a hardworking person, you can do anything, and that's just kind of my ideology on everything. So yeah, I worked real hard and I got what I wanted. I'm shooting in a bathroom because it's the best lighting. Yeah, we have really bad lighting here. But I'm gonna give like basically the beginner's ideology, like the expectations that people expect of cheerleaders, like the stereotypes versus like the actual thing, like the actual like cheerleading kind of thing, I guess. Stereotypes, real thing. There's nothing that's popping up. Just using different sides. But one of my first things going in there, I believe the stereotype was like, they're looking for girls who know how to do everything. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna fail. That's not true. One thing I didn't expect that they were really looking for was my voice to be strong. I mean, I'm pretty, like, when I'm nervous, I'm soft-spoken, but I'm pretty loud in general. But I was yelling the wrong way. Apparently, they yell from here and not from here. And so, yeah. It's not about how skinny you are or, like, the expectation going in is you don't have to be a professional. You don't need to know how to do a round off back handspring for the high school team I've tried out for. I mean, there's some teams that may require you to round off back handspring. I can't do a round off back handspring. But that's my ideology. Like, don't go in there thinking, oh, because I can't do this, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to try because I can't do this. Go in there. If you don't know what you're doing, have fun. My experience with just doing things is that typically I may think, like, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, I don't know how to do this, and I, like, end up failing. Like, oh, I think I'm going to fail. Oh, my God. My first experience with this, like, where I really noticed that it's just positive thinking, was I did a dance audition for a like company for the summer where they take us all the way up into this mountain. We're working with like professionals from New York, and then we get to travel to New York City and we're just like and perform on a stage in front of bunches of people. It was a professional like dance company, and I went in there and I was like, my teacher told me, oh, I want you to audition, just stay after, they're having the auditions actually here at our studio. I'm like, okay. Sure, I'm just going to audition for fun. I don't really want to go in. She goes, oh no, I already registered you for tryouts. I'm like, oh, are you serious? I'm like, all these girls are a lot older than me. The youngest age was 13 to 25. All these people auditioning. And you think, wow, that's a giant age range. I was the youngest in the room. And they were my audition for and everything. And all of them are like 19 to 25 years old, and I'm like standing here. I'm really short in general, so I'm just small, and I'm like, yeah, and they're like pulling up their legs in all sorts of positions, and I'm like, jumping jacks? jumping jacks, okay? Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Like, I'm just stretching in like regular, common, like, okay. What have I been taught to stretch? I really don't stretch like that, but I'm just making a joke of it. But, and I auditioned, and they had my email and everything, so they were going to email us if we made it. And I kept messing up. I went across the floor, and things that I knew how to do, I was messing up, and I just got frustrated. I didn't think I was going to do it. I had been in the middle row, and I suddenly got bumped to the front because I was short. And I just thought I was short, it was just so I could see everybody also. And so, like, how the technique was, and so we learned chunks of routine, like we do exercise to warm up and like hold your leg out for 16 counts, or do this and hold that position and we continue. And so that was what we did. And then we'd learn our chunk of routine, go back to stretching and doing different things, then learn the other chunk of the routine, go back to stretching and doing different things. And so we'd have to run through, like, every time we learned a new chunk, we'd run it from the beginning, the first chunk we learned, to the other chunk, to the new chunk they added, and then do another exercise. And by the end, we had to do this whole routine that they had made to this music without, like, from beginning to end, and it had ripples in it, and so like they would switch your position, so you had to learn the other ripple like randomly, like they didn't teach you that ripple, but you better know what to do in that ripple too. So yeah, and I got pushed to the front, and then I got pushed to the back because they had to see the people in the back, and so then they like reorganized us, and I ended up back in the same spot in the front. I was like, oh no. And I did the dance and everything, and my teacher's over here thumbs upping me, and I'm like from the window. And I went to, it took 2 weeks, and I went to class, and my teacher's like, she goes, congratulations, this, that, and the third. Like, it was 3 weeks now, I hadn't checked my email. I was like, I didn't get in, and apparently I got in. I decided not to go to the thing, it was very expensive. I had a scholarship even though, like, it was still 15 grand, and I was not in a position to be confident 15 grand. And so, considering how expensive the program was, I had the 75% off scholarship because they couldn't give me any other scholarship ahead of time, so too bad. I was surprised that I made it. Out of all these other girls who didn't make it, I mean, I've seen some of these girls before. They were in my classes, and some of them didn't make it. They were in the elite teams, and they didn't make it. And I was very scared and very happy that, because I pushed myself, like, it showed me that negative thinking wasn't where I needed to go. That even though we tell ourselves we can't, there's 9 times out of 10 you probably can. So that's my first thing, like, go for it. Whatever is you think they are looking for I thought they were looking for somebody else, they weren't. Cheer tryouts, I thought they were looking for girls with more experience, who knew what they were doing, they weren't. So it's what you do. It's just try it. Go for it. If you really want it, you'll be able to do it. My second advice is cheering and stuff like that doesn't matter. Like, your body shape does not matter whatsoever. In the unit I tried out for, they did not care. I mean, so they had a couple cheerleaders. They were called the panel. They were cheerleaders from last season who did really well and were cheerleaders. Like, they were basically, they thought they were going to end up judging us at the end, like, picking us. But they taught us and they showed us what we had to learn and all the cheers we had to learn for tryouts and everything. And so that was their job. And so, one of the girls, she's bigger. She was short and she was real thick. I love her. She's like my idol. I love her. And she shattered the expectations of what, like, my friend, my cheermate now, she thought she was not going to make the team because she was a thick girl, big girl. I was like, she's so stupid. You're going to make the team. Because me, I have a thing about, if you're going to judge someone upon their weight, you need to stop. I hate people who judge people upon their weight, their skin color, like things you don't know. And so she thought, oh, I'm a big girl, they're not going to pick me, they're going to pick all the skinny little girls in this room. they didn't. We tried it with about 20 to 30 people, and on top of those 20 to 30 people, that included our 12-piece panel. The 12 people who were on the panel, only 3 of the cheerleaders who were on the panel, I think, made it. Who were they made the team. They were looking for people who were positive, outgoing, ready to put their all into everything they had, and only 17 of us, I think it's 17 of us. It could be 15 of us. I'm pretty sure it's probably like 15. We have 3 stunt teams, and that's 4 each. It's 12, and there's about 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 of us. Yeah, I was right. 15 of us on the side alone. Like, out of all 30 plus people who tried, only 15 made it. And only me, my friend, and another friend of ours were beginner cheerleaders. We weren't there last season, so we had never cheered before, so we got to do this. And we realized, we went in there and we were like, okay, we had to do solo auditions, give it your all. And the physical aspects, my friend Ivana, she's super tall, and she's really stick thin. She's like mean, no cleavage. She wasn't like, all 3 of us were not the ideology of what people are expecting cheerleaders. Oh, they have nice sized boobs, they're shaped. Like, no, that's not what was there. We don't have like perfect hair. My hair's frizzy. I tried to curl it and it like flopped. I was trying to curl it for the game. But we shattered the expectations of what a physical cheerleader is. The girl on our team now who was on the panel shattered the expectation of what people looked at and was like, oh, this is a cheerleader. She is beautifully gorgeous. She's thick, and she loves it. She's like, I'm thick, and I love it, boo-boo. She's confident about it. She cares that she's a cheerleader who shatters the expectations. So don't go in there thinking, oh, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not thick enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not short enough, I'm not... Go in there, because I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, it doesn't matter what you look like. It's if you give it your all. My third advice is, don't become a cheerleader for the uniform and the pom-poms and the whole I'm a cheerleader aspect. Don't. If that's why you're becoming a cheerleader, stop. You don't want that. It's actual work. If you're like, oh yeah, it's physical work, I can really become a cheerleader because you want to motivate others. Don't become a cheerleader so you can say you were a cheerleader and that you're like, oh, I look so cute in my uniform, don't I? Like, don't. Yes, uniforms are a plus. They're fun to wear and they're cool, but don't do it because that's what you want. You want the uniform. You want to walk around and be like, I'm a cheerleader. I joined cheerleading because I knew it was like a lot of physical work. I was like, yes, it's physical work. These people work hard. They're doing things other people would dare not try. Like, we could there's a label just in cheerleading alone, do not try at home. Like, half the things. So, cheerleading's a hard sport, and I was like, I want to challenge myself. I have a principal who says cheerleading's not a sport, it's an activity. Because I go to a different school than I cheer at. But you have to learn it's actual physical work. Don't become a cheerleader thinking it's going to be a walk in the park. Don't think because you're, like, once again, don't think because you know how to tumble and jump around and do stunts that you're going to make the team. Don't think that because you're skinny and pretty you're going to make the team. Don't think that those things are going to, oh, I'm just naturally born to be a cheerleader. If you're a giant, forgive me, gitch. If you're a gitch, then you're not making the team. If you're negative, you're like, I can't do this, I'm doing it all wrong, there's no point. If you walk in there and just stand there like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait until what I know how to do comes on. Oh, give me a pike. Sorry, I don't know how to do a pike. I'm not going to do a pike. Don't say that. Get up there and try a pike. Well, my pike's really, you can say that, like, I'm not great at a pike, I really am uncomfortable with doing it, but, like, but I'm hoping with practice I can get better. It takes practice. So become a cheerleader for the right reasons. Don't become one to say, I'm a cheerleader. Oh my gosh. Another stereotype to crash and probably crush half of you girls who are like, I'm going to become dream number 4. Here it comes. You probably won't end up dating a basketball player or a football player. You could. I mean, it's possible. I'm just saying, don't become one in the aspect of, they're going to see us practicing and this and the third. Where I cheer, girls and guys practice separately. We practice in 2 different buildings, actually. They practice over where we play games, where, like, they practice in that gym, and we practice in a whole nother building, because the school has multiple buildings. A whole nother building, practice on the other side of town, in a smaller gym. Not like a smaller, just like tiny and cramped, like, that's a full court for like a game, and then we have like the little practice courts. We have one of those size gyms. It's actually bigger than that, but it's like to have bleachers and stuff like that. But we practice in a whole different gym. Their gym's padded, which you think cheerleaders would go for. We have our wooden gym. It has wood floors. And we have mats and stuff like that. But don't think, oh, they're going to see me practice. He's going to fall in love with me. Oh my God. It's probably a figment of your imagination, baby. A lot of our basketball players have girlfriends. Some of them have dated girls on the team, but I mean, it's not that. It's one, we are going to ride our bus with our players tomorrow, but we're not allowed to really talk to the players. Girls are not allowed to communicate with them. Guys can't communicate with the girls, because if your head is not in the game, especially at in like sporting events, someone's going to get hurt. We had a cheerleader, she got really nervous. Our first game, going up in the air, she was a flyer, she fell. Terrible. She fell. She's been in the air once since because she really feels uncomfortable, but when she went up in the air again, she nailed it. But don't think that because you're a cheerleader, you're automatically going to end up dating one of the players. It doesn't work that way, sorry. Like, in some cases it does, but in other cases, don't assume that's how life is going to work, okay? 5 is be yourself. Like, I guarantee you that if I wasn't myself all the time when I was at cheerleading, I wouldn't have any friends. I mean, myself, like, my cheermate, we used to be really close, but that's a personal issue. We hang out with each other, but like, that's my wife. Even now as cheermates, we play around like, that's my wife. Don't touch my wife. And I have another cheermate. That's my girlfriend. It's my girlfriend and my wife. I get girls. Like, I make jokes. And even my friend JJ, he comes and he makes jokes with us too. Like, it's fun and all. Like, if I wasn't myself, I don't think JJ would be my friend. I don't think Ivana would be my friend. I don't even think my old best friend, but now like close cheermate, would be as close as she is to me in cheer if I didn't. You really have to be yourself because you have to trust the person wholeheartedly. If you can't share yourself with them, like the person around you, you're probably like, you can't trust someone if you don't know them. Like, you have to get to know your teammates, and that starts with you being yourself so that they can feel comfortable being themselves. Like, me and my best friend, when we were best friends, I keep saying my best friend, it's a recent separation, but we were ourselves. We hung out with each other and we had fun, and people wanted to participate in that fun. The whole reason we met JJ was because Genesis had me stretch her, because Genesis is like really flexible. She had me help her stretch, and Genesis took her leg and laid down and stuck her leg right behind her ear, and she's really flexible, and she's a thick girl. She's that friend I was telling you about who went in there thinking she wasn't going to make the team, and boom, pow, she made the team. So she was a thick girl, and it wasn't because she was flexible, it's because she was herself and she put in the work. But yeah, JJ saw her and he was like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? Like, he was playing around with us, and from that moment on, we just were ourselves and comfortable with JJ because JJ was himself. And we were ourselves, and it made it even more comfortable. Ivana was tall. I told Ivana, you're tall. Like, we were ourselves. We were comfortable. When you're yourself, that's the best feeling you're going to get. It's going to give you the most acceptance for who you are. Like, and no one can actually, like, when you're truly yourself, people bashing you, yeah, it's going to sting a little, but you're going to be able to be like, who are you, though? When people ask me how do I define myself now that I'm a cheerleader, I'm like, I define myself as Alexis. If you ask me what I do, they're like, oh, you're a cheerleader, this and that. I'm like, I'm not a cheerleader. What I do is cheerleading. But the title of the people who do it are cheerleaders. I'm a cheerleader, but that's not who I am. My crush will tell you, like, he met me, and he knew me, and he didn't know I was a cheerleader. I was leaving early for my first game, and I came bolting in. I kept trying to text him, come hug me. I gotta leave school early. I guess he didn't have his phone, and so I was like, oh my gosh, he wanted a hug before I left, and I don't want him to be mad at me or like think something. And so I bolted in there, and I was like, hey all, said hi to all his friends and everything. I was like, I'm leaving early. Hugged him, and he was like, and I left, and me and my friends talked about it in the car on the way to the game. Oh my gosh, he's gonna look at you. He's gonna think. Now he's going to look at you and he's going to see the sexy cheerleader. I'm like, I'm not a sexy cheerleader. I mean, my hair was crazy and curled up and shrunk up. Not like this is my hair when it's flat ironed and curled up. But it was shrunk up and all curly and my natural hair. And I was like, I'm not a sexy cheerleader. I'm just Alexis. And they're like, what, he's going to see his cheerleader. And so I called him and he totally forgot I was a cheerleader. A few days later, I was like, yeah, I'm so sorry about coming running in the other day with my uniform on and hugging you. He goes, what uniform? Your school uniform? I mean, I see you in your school uniform every day. I was like, my cheer uniform. He goes, oh yeah, you're a cheerleader. I was like, yeah. He goes, you don't act like the stereotype of a cheerleader, and that's one of the things that also inspired this video, that we're not a particular way. Like, everyone expects us to be like, oh yeah, go, woo! Like in school, I joke like that, and I say that all the time, I'm like, go Beavers, and they're like, oh, everyone's like, since you became a cheerleader, you're more preppy. I'm like, no, I'm just practice here. Typically, I'm like, I've always been preppy in school, woo, yes, ha ha ha, like, I've always been the smiling, bubbling face, but I still have my negative side to me, like, oh, I hate that, I can't do that, I have that mentality. But I forgot what I said. But be yourself. Like, trust me, you don't want to be known as, like, you want more to yourself than the title of, I'm a cheerleader. You want the title of, like, I'm myself. My hobby is cheerleading. You want to be known for you, not what you do. Like, you want to be known for what you do, but you don't want to be known as that's all that is to you. You want to be known as something more than that. And then, lastly, it's about my friend JJ. Like, don't assume all male cheerleaders are gay. My friend JJ happens to be bi, but not all male cheerleaders are gay. So whoever gave you that stereotype that all of them are gay, no, they're not. Just because he's bi doesn't mean that, like, that's a different thing. You're like, oh, well, he's still technically gay. No, stop. He's bi. That has nothing to do with it. I mean, there could be other boys on the team. Like, we only have him on our team, but that's because only 2 boys tried out and the other one didn't put in any work. But I'm just saying, like, there are male cheerleaders out there who are completely straight, 100% straight, and they have more muscle in their pinky finger than you have in your whole body. Do you know how much it takes to take a girl off the ground, throw her up in the air, and put her back down perfectly? Do you know how much it is to hold a girl on one hand? That's work. That's real muscle. That's awesome shit right there. So I'm saying, don't judge us. I hate the ideology that they're gay. Like, that's stupid, because not everyone who's a male cheerleader is gay. So don't, once again, going back to the don't judge a book by its cover thing, like, don't, not all male cheerleaders are gay. That's 6. 7. This is a really long video. 7. Ooh. Once again, don't assume that we're perfect. Oh, you know how you see cheerleaders and you expect, oh, they're popular. But then I said, I'm not popular. I am not a popular person. I'm okayly liked. Like, some people dislike me, other people like me, other people tolerate me. I'm just a regular person. Like, not all cheerleaders are popular. Like, we're not. All of us. We're all pretty much regular people. Most of my friends are regular people. They're not popular because they're cheerleaders. Cheerleading does not make you popular. It makes you a person. That's what cheerleading does. It makes you a person. It makes you have a hobby. It makes you work out a little. It makes you work out. It makes you feel good. If you feel good. 8. Be positive and motivational on and off the field, in and out of uniform. This comes from the notion of, 1, you want to be a nice person. That's just natural. You should want to be a nice person. And 2, once you can't walk in, like, say I got some girl pushed me or, like, bumped me outside, I can't start yelling at her, like, bruh, you bumped me, can you please, like, I would, you have to approach the situation like a lady. You can't, like, not just as a lady, but as a good person, like, not a lady, a good person. If you bump me, I can't just be like, oh my gosh, you bumped me, why would you do that? I can't handle the situation like, you bumped me, I can't do that, because if she bumped into, obviously she's going in to watch this game. I can't be like, you bumped me, oh my gosh, you bumped me. Instead, I could have handled, a better way to handle it. Excuse me, I'm not aware, I don't know if you're aware, but you bumped into me, it's okay, I just wanted to let you know that you, like, bumped into me, and it kind of hurt, and typically, they're gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry, or you're gonna get the rude, sassy people who will be like, and I care why, and you just, like, I'm sorry for bothering you, okay? And if they continue with you, just keep walking and be like, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. Just keep apologizing. I mean, it feels weird that they bumped into you and you're the one apologizing, but remember, you're being a good person. You're avoiding the altercation. Your goal is, let me just get inside and get to practice. Let me get ready and get dressed. Because if I was rude to her, like, you bumped me, I can't stand it, like, you need to go somewhere, like, arguing with her, and then I go inside the building and I change into my uniform, she now is going to go and she's going to be like, oh my gosh, she started a whole problem with me because I bumped into her. But if I said the other thing and she had an attitude about it, oh, I don't need to apologize to you, I'm like, and you keep saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you, when people are talking about you, obviously that's the situation. Oh, she bumped into me, and she's like, I bumped into her, and she was telling me how I bumped into her, said the third, and now, when people look at the situation, they're like, you bumped into her. She told me I bumped into her, and they're gonna look at her, she told you because you didn't say something right. Like, if I went up to her, she had, like, go back to the other situation where I said negatively, you bumped into me, can you believe it, she bumped into me. She's gonna go back and she's gonna be like, I bumped into this girl, and she, like, started blasting me about how I bumped into her. That's different than, I bumped into this girl, and she told me told me that I bumped into her. I'm aware I bumped into her. Like, that's a different situation. Like, people are gonna look at her like, you bumped into her. She let you know you bumped into her. She wasn't rude about the situation. And if anybody asks you questions, because obviously if it's an altercation, someone's going to lead up to asking you eventually, they'll be able to tell you, hey, what happened when you can be like, I apologize several times for upsetting her. I was just letting her know that she bumped into me and I didn't feel comfortable with it. Squash it there. You don't want her to go in and think you're a bad person and see you in your uniform, and then that reflects how your team looks. It's a reflection of your team. If you're rude in an outside of the thing and somebody sees you in your uniform, or somebody sees you with your water bottle, like I have a Weaver water bottle, they're going to look at it and they're going to be like, she's rude, she's disrespectful, that's a reflection of her team, like she thinks she's high and mighty, and it gives a reflection and a bad name to cheerleaders in general, like, oh, she's a cheerleader for Weaver, she's disrespectful, she's a cheerleader, I'll just hear it. Like, you don't want people to generalize you like that. And on top of that, your whole purpose of being a cheerleader is to be motivational. You want to motivate others, and you want to be positive, and you want to make people be happy. You don't want people upset. So, that's your thing. Like, I'm not saying run away from your problem and be like, no, don't handle them. I'm just saying think before you, like, while you're handling them. Don't be like, oh, da, 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 da. Like, don't. Put the hands down. Matter of fact, if you have a problem with, like, I talk with my hands, put them in your pocket. Put them in your pocket. Just like, excuse me, you bumped into me. Like, if you have a problem with eye contact and you want to confront somebody on an altercation, don't make eye contact. And if it's like, I heard you were saying some negative things about me, that's really bothering me, like, may you please stop, or can you tell me what's really going on? But I won't say, can you please stop, because you don't know. You can be like, can you please, like, inform me of what's really going on here? Like, see me, I'm rubbing my thigh, I'm keeping my hands down by my side so you can see my hand at all times, that I am not doing anything threatening. You want to be a positive person. You want to motivate people to be positive people too. So that starts with you doing it first. So, like, you're there to motivate the basketball players. You can't be like, boo, you stink to the other team, because that's not positive to you. Like, we have, like, a cheer that's kind of insulting, but it's all in good fun because we have cheers that are motivational. Like, we have a cheer, it's called No Respect, and it's targeted at the other cheerleaders. Oh, you get no respect in here. We've seen you losing all your cheers. Like, it's targeted at them and an insult. To be like, you're nobody. But, we have other cheers like, shake it off, ooh! And it's in the intent of, okay, something bad happened, come on, you can get up, do it. And even then, after the game's over, we go over and we shake hands with the other cheerleaders. We go over and we're like, hey, great game. I hope you didn't take any offense to any of the cheers that were said. Like, we apologize for any of our disrespectful cheers, our ruder cheers. We're like, oh, sorry. I know it was all in good fun. It's just to get the adrenaline running in the crowd and, you know, put on a good show. They're like, okay. And we also give respect to the other team, even though we weren't the team that played them. Like, we're not the basketball players. We go over to the team and say, hey, good game. You did great. I saw you make that three-pointer. Yes. Like, you say things to motivate them because you don't want people to be negative. And negative image leads to bad problems. So don't be that person. So I leave you at that number, and this was my basic guide to shattering expectations. So, 1, I don't even know where I started. But be nice, play kind, don't expect that you don't have to know everything. You don't have to look a certain way. Not all male cheerleaders are gay. Effort counts. Last point. Be good to people on and off the field. I know there was a couple more points I made, but strive for it. I mean, I know this video is really long, so, I mean, if you watch all of it, congrats. But that's my goal. Be a positive person. This is my guide to what expectations are expected of a cheerleader and what they're really like. As a beginner cheerleader, because I've just started cheering about a month ago. Well, yeah, tomorrow will be about a month ago. Bye.